All right, both of my pant legs are ready to go. They're both sewn and serged along the inner leg seam. And now we're going to move on to step number 2 in the directions. So step number 2, with right sides together, you're going to insert one leg inside the other. So we're going to take one out of the two of these. We're going to turn one of them right side out. Okay, then we're going to put that one inside the other one. So now I have my two plaid sides touching. Okay, and then just kind of smooth it out, shake it out. Align the top edge here. And again, both plaid sides should be touching. And it should look something like this. Okay, I have two plaid sides touching, and you're gonna notice this U shape over here. So let me grab my pins. When I pin anything that has a seam that crosses each other, I always start pinning at that point. So right over here, I am going to pin so that these two seams, let me zoom in here, so that these two seams over here and over here are lined up at the crotch seam. So you're gonna have this like flappy seam allowance. I put the seam allowance towards the back. The back is the one with the triple notch. So over here you can see this is my double notch. My triple notch looks bigger. So I'm gonna bring these seam allowances over to that side. Okay, so the seams here are matched. I'm gonna put my first pin exactly where the seam is so that these are perfectly matched. So when we sew them, those should be totally aligned. Okay, and then I just pin upward from there. As you're pinning, make sure that you line up the raw edges. If they aren't lined up, you can just move your fabric so they are. Okay, so that side's all pinned. Now I'm going to work my way up from the seam here and go up on the opposite side. Okay, so once it's all pinned, it should look like this. It's just pinned along this U shape. The next step is step number 3. You're going to stitch it. And then we're going to, instead of, it says actually in the directions to reinforce the seam. Because we serge the seam after we sew it, that will count as a reinforcement. So just go ahead and sew it at 5/8, back stitching at the beginning and the end. You're gonna start from here, work your way around, ending over here, and then after you finish that, go ahead and serge the seam.